This video is going to discuss the proposal from Obama to combine the FDA and USDA. The FDA, also known as the Food and Drug Administration, oversees the veterinary, drugs, medical devices, and the food supply for all Americans. The USDA, also known as the U.S. Department of Agriculture, oversees the farming industry. Combining these two will lead to a centralized responsibility and leadership. Over 50 million Americans are sickened each year by foodborne illness.
Both of these have many subgroups that work within them. And although they have similar goals and objectives, this transition to combine the agencies will not be an easy one. For example, the NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, is getting moved to the Department of Interior. This results in a gray area because the NOAA inspects fish when they're in saltwater, and the Department of Interior inspects fish when they're in freshwater. These gray areas cause many problems as to who's in charge of what.
Having these two agencies separate leads to overlapping responsibility and confusion. If we combine them, it'll leave one set of rules for everyone to follow, and it'll make it much easier to determine who is at fault for a recall.
If we were to focus on the real problem here, which is the lack of prevention before these foodborne illnesses occur, we would have less recalls. And if we could just focus on not reorganizing the government, but taking care of the problem at hand, we would be in a much better situation. Jobs will also be lost due to the combination of these agencies. Where would this new centralized agency even be located?
It would be located in Maryland, where the FDA is currently housed. And as far as jobs go, jobs would be gained because there would be more inspectors and there would be more regulation on the food.
More inspectors will be picking up the FDA's slack. Therefore, the USDA's food supply will not be as closely monitored anymore if they're focusing on jobs that aren't even theirs in the first place. The standards of the USDA will be brought down. They inspect every single day. The FDA only comes when a problem occurs, and if we're waiting until a problem occurs to do something about it, it's only going to cost more money in the long run. More money is going to be spent on the overhead of running this large company rather than spending that money better by focusing on the actual inspections and the funding needed for them. The USDA and FDA also have very different testing methods, education and training methods, and the USDA has actually been proven that their lab testing methods are better than the FDA.
Well, who's to say that if these agencies combine, they wouldn't use the testing methods that the USDA currently implements? The number of people to monitor food would increase drastically. The regulations would increase, and the FDA just can't handle the food that they're supposed to be regulating now. They're currently in charge of 80% of all the food that Americans consume and about 90% of all the imported seafood.
The solution to this problem is not the restructure of the government. The solution is increased foodborne illness education, better testing methods, incentives to be provided for those who take food safety seriously, and legal action to be imposed on those who do not.
All these are great ideas, but combining the agencies would still lead to higher food standards.
In the end, food safety would be compromised simply because we are trying to contain costs by combining these agencies. The competition between these are good, and in 1906, a single food agency was implemented and failed. And also in 2008 and 2010, both agencies were called to improve their standards, and they still have not done so. So what makes you think combining these agencies will get that job done any faster?
Well, we can always hope for change.